item that we have is the Soil and Water Conservation District, to be presented by the Executive Director of the district, Jan Ripka. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Greetings to the council members, some of who had the pleasure of addressing just a couple weeks ago. Jean did get a copy of a handout just to kind of augment the budget documents, and I will be brief. Basically, the chairman asked us to talk about our challenges, and I don't think our challenges at Soil and Water are any different than anybody else's in county or local, state or federal government. We are dealing with funding issues. We are not a county agency. We are a political subdivision of the state of Ohio. Cuyahoga County is our jurisdiction, and we are non-regulatory and organized under Ohio Revised Code 1515. Just really briefly, the agency initiatives. We do provide a county-based program thanks to funding that we get from the state and previously from Cuyahoga County. And that assistance is basically related to on-site assistance for landowners, erosion, sediment control, drainage issues, soil issues, and conservation planning. Our agency holds conservation easements right now, 280 acres of conservation easements, protected lands that are protected under these easements, and wetlands, sensitive stream areas. Some of our other initiatives, one of which I'm extremely proud of, is this ongoing initiative to open what is currently known as Dike 14 and is slowly changing to become the Cleveland Lakefront Nature Preserve, and to open that up on a permanent basis to the public. It's been about a 10-year process. We do have an environmental educational collaborative that includes many partners. The Soil and Water Conservation District raised the funds through a US EPA grant to do an environmental assessment, and we are now working with county development, US EPA, Ohio EPA, the Port Authority, and others to bring the dollars to the table to remediate a 5 to 8 acre area that was identified as a hot spot. And that's been a wonderful process, and it's great to have the folks at the table that can actually get the job done. We're excited about that. Some of the other things that we do on an annual basis, we do provide professional training to consultants, engineers, teachers related to the work that we do, and some of the environmental needs in the county, and that would be related to soils, to stormwater management, to best management practices related to stormwater management and water quality improvements. Right now, we're also collaborating with other agencies like the Board of Health on their Porter Creek project that's aimed at improving water quality in that watershed, and that's over in Bay Village, Westlake area. We're working with the Cuyahoga River Remedial Action Plan on a initiative to work with communities to reestablish, enhance, restore their canopy cover. And this has not only ramifications in terms of stormwater management, but also clean air and protection of our stream side from further erosion. Also say that our agency has a federal partner that's a USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service, and through that partnership we are able to work on some of the current initiatives such as urban gardens, urban farms, some of our larger farms out in the perimeter of the counties, and that it also includes the horse stables, to bring cost share dollars from the federal government for best management practices such as cover crops, high tunnels, drip irrigation, and manure management. Watershed Action Plan implementation is another one of our major initiatives. We have 2 watershed coordinators working with us. That's in the Euclid Creek watershed, 9 communities up in the northeastern part of the county, and the Rocky River watershed. And that program also extends beyond Cuyahoga County. And the idea behind those programs is to implement projects that protect our water quality and restore habitat and prevent pollution. The crux of our program is, and it's really, I think, something when the county council and the county executive have spoken about, regional collaboration and that's kind of shared services, consistency of services across the county, and that's the work that we do right now, implementing for 50% of the land in Cuyahoga County, helping cities with their compliance needs under the NPDES Phase 2 program. It's a clean water, federal clean water mandate. The cities in this county are required to comply with that mandate. Because of what we've historically done since 1949, we were able to parlay that work into assisting cities, providing a low-cost alternative to those cities to implement their programs, not just because we had the technical know-how, which got them up and running immediately, but also because we could provide it at a low cost. And that program consists of public involvement and public education, and we're doing that for 25 communities. It also includes erosion and sediment control and post-construction stormwater management that has a component of long-term operations and maintenance. And that's something when we consider what's happening out in the county, when we consider the old practice as opposed to the new best practices, those proven practices that can do things a little bit better, that old school kind of hard engineering, we now know that there are different ways that we can do it. It's not going to always be the new best management, low impact design, but we can now look at that, we can demonstrate that that work can be done, and the long-term effect is a reduction in cost to the communities, and that affects all of us in Cuyahoga County. The majority of our funding right now is from through state and local government grants and the work that we do with cities. Since 2009, we have not received any subsidy from the county. I will say, however, that subsidy that we received, and from 2001 to 2009 averaged about $77,000 a year, that money enabled our district to go out there and work with the communities and bring that other funding in. So when our funding, our subsidy from the county was cut, we had some other funding in place. And the importance of not just being efficient in the way that you operate and spend money, but also looking at raising funds from diverse sources. That county subsidy, if it were reinstated, would, I think, allow us to do some other potential projects or expand on what we already have. I think what we've demonstrated with our program for the communities is that we've kind of created a level playing field so that, especially in the cities that we work with, a developer, engineer that's coming in understands there's a consistent program being operated, so they know that they can work in Parma or they can work in North Royalton, and the same expectations are going to be there for them. And that's, I think, very, very important. It's a cost savings to them as well. They don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. So to provide that service across the county, I think would be awesome. We are right now undergoing the soil and water conservation districts in the state of Ohio. There's one in each county. We're looking at ways that we can all share services as well. We've heard a lot of people talk about that today, the importance of sharing services. Countywide, I think we'd love to be able to work with the county and the county council on sustainability initiatives, getting out there perhaps into the school districts and training the teachers on some sustainability practices, that education. And it's an opportunity to create better county through critical thinking and real-world learning, plus engagement in stewardship activities. And that's one of the points in our mission. Is it's about technical assistance, about education, and it's about stewardship. And that's what our organization has and does provide. Lastly, I think if we were to once again obtain county funding, we do have our conservation easement program. That's an unfunded program. We fit that in with the things that we do. To be able to acquire more of these sensitive lands and protect them, it has implications to what happens long term in terms of flooding and how we can kind of prevent some of those things. When Bonnie spoke about the work that the county engineer does. We do work with the county engineer, and there's a lot of opportunities, I think, to expand on some of that, protect our taxpayers by reducing the costs from environmental degradation. So that's it in a nutshell. Our budget revenues this year are projected at $653,000, and our expenditures projected at $615,000. We have 7.5 staff people. We did have to reduce our staff by 1.5 people over the past year and a half. We are doing more with less, and I'm delighted to say that we have a staff that is not just professional, they're trained, they have the expertise, and they're certified. So it's great, and I think we all love being of service to the county and the people of Cuyahoga County.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Questions for Ms. Rivka? And we're going to start with Councilwoman Conwell.
Just one question. How long has the Soil and Water Conservation, how long has the county had this program?
We've been in existence since 1949.
1949, okay.
Anything else?
Just a little follow-up. So I was reading your 2012-2013 initiative. So basically, if the other municipalities, what did they do before they utilized, or have they always utilized this?
In 2003, that's when the first permit for this Phase 2 program under the Clean Water Act came into play. At that time, most cities, I would say, were scrambling to figure out how they were going to perform the duties required under that permit. So we basically went out and sold our services to the communities. And the communities that work with us, it's on a voluntary basis.
So it's kind of like they pay us for these services, or you for these services?
Yeah, they pay us. We work with them through a memorandum of understanding.
Okay. Ms. Simon.
Thank you. Director Ripka, did you submit additional fund request to the executive with
No,
a
we did
detail?
not. No, we did not.
Would you please do that so the council, or to us, to this council, to see what you would be looking for if you were to receive a county subsidy?
I would be delighted to do that, and I'd love to engage in a conversation a little bit more expansive about where does the county want to go? You know, where do you see yourselves? And to determine if we really could fit in to help you meet your objectives. One thing that I really need to note is that historically, the state matches any appropriation, any subsidy we get from the counties and municipalities and the township. So that historically was one to one. Last year it was 73%. It's because of that, those dollars, that we can continue to work at the same level, cost to the communities that we worked since 2003. State funding is going down, and that could be problematic. And I think the cities, the last thing they want to hear right now is, you know, having more cost come out of their pockets. So that would be definitely something that would be helpful.
Okay, anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the Solid Waste Management District, and we're going to hear from Diane Beckett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Diane Bickett. I'm with the Executive Director for the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District. Similar to the Soil and Water Conservation District, the Solid Waste Management District is a political subdivision in Ohio. Our territory encompasses all of Cuyahoga County and a small portion of Cuyahoga County. We are one of 52 waste districts in the state of Ohio that is responsible for preparing and implementing solid waste management plans to reduce the amount of waste being disposed in Ohio's landfills by increasing recycling, composting, and other waste reduction activities statewide or district-wide. The district is governed by a board of directors that includes Councilman Rogers, Bonnie Tewin, and Ed Fitzgerald. We're also advised by a solid waste policy committee. Councilwoman Simon serves on that committee. And we are self-funded by what we call a generation fee, which is a fee that is assessed on all the solid waste that is generated within the district and disposed in a landfill in Ohio. And our fee is currently at $1.50 per ton. The fee level is approved and ratified within our solid waste management plan by the communities of Cuyahoga County when we take our plan out for ratification. The district currently has 6 staff. We provide a variety of services to the communities and businesses and institutions of the county. The services are designed to increase recycling, increase awareness of waste reduction and recycling activities, and support local recycling-based businesses. I believe you have a handout in your packet that describes some of our programs and services in details. Our budget is around, our 2012 proposed budget of $2.1 million balances what we anticipate to bring in terms of revenues in 2012 and 2013, and has been reviewed by our board of directors at our previous board meeting, and I'm available to take any questions if you have any.
Okay. Questions for the Solid Waste Management District? Councilman Germano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the director, do the other solid waste management districts have the same formula? Other counties, is it the $1.50 a common amount?
Councilman, it is not. It varies for every solid waste district depending on what the local needs are in that community to implement the programs in their solid waste management plan. The $1.50 per ton waste generation fee that Cuyahoga County assesses is one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in the state of Ohio. And partly the reason for that is we have a lot of waste being generated, so we can assess a lower rate per ton than some of the rural districts. But you know, our surrounding communities or solid waste management districts do charge a higher fee.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we come to the Ohio State University Extension, Marie Barney. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the privilege to be here, Mr. Chairman and council members. And I do have to share that brevity is not a strength of mine, but tonight it's going to be a priority. The other thing I was thinking of as I was sitting here is there had to be a strategy to putting me last. And as that dinner hour encroaches, and you probably know I'm going to talk about local foods, I hope that doesn't pique any hunger in you. But again, thank you very much for the honor to be here. I'm very pleased on behalf of the many residents that we serve, as you'll learn from all walks of age, all walks of life, all ages, and all backgrounds. We truly are privileged to be here in Cuyahoga County. Earlier, someone was talking about archiving. We're approaching about a 100-year history of being in Cuyahoga County, and we appreciate very much the continued support that we've had from the commissioners and administration and here today before all of you. What's very unique about us, we are Ohio's land-grant institution, and to have a presence in a county does require an appropriation, and I'll share a little bit when I get to my budget slide how we're able to even leverage more from the appropriation that you do give us. I quickly want to start by going over some of the values that I find interesting that I believe were a part of putting together the biennial budget. We too have aligned our services to focus on the residents with the greatest needs. You're going to hear me talk about our youth, individuals with developmental disabilities, the elderly, and some of the immigrant and refugee populations that are coming to the county. We believe too in strengthening our economy. We are creating new jobs here, albeit it's very different from what Cleveland is used to, and that's a part of our urban farming and urban agriculture programming. All of our work, we measure our outcomes so we can show you the results of the funding that you give us. We believe very strongly in partnerships. I have a slide to show how we are integral to Cuyahoga County. In fact, at some meetings, folks feel that we're the Department of OSU Extension, and I have to correct them, although I take that as an honor. And we too, like you've heard from others, are collaborating regionally. Extension is now in what we call EERAs, Extension Education and Research Areas. On the first slide here, you can see we are a part of the Western Reserve EERA. What makes that nice is we're now able to leverage the expertise of the educators that are housed in this area. Very quickly, I know youth is a priority to you. We focus a lot on youth. We oversee the county's Youth Advisory Committee in a partnership with the Family Children First Council. I believe a couple of you may be coming to our youth summit this Saturday. Believe it or not, we're expecting somewhere between 300 and 500 young and aspiring adults who have planned this event for their peers. Another little highlight here, we have an ongoing partnership with the Cleveland Metro Parks. We just celebrated a 10-year anniversary with the Youth Outdoors program. What makes that unique, it's at no cost to you. That is fully funded by OSU and through the Cleveland Metro Parks. And what we do there is try to use the outdoors and take our youth to use that as a context for learning some life skills and important social skills. And you'll see in a minute, they just won a national award. Strengthening our families and communities. I hope you've heard about the Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Food Policy Coalition. If you haven't, you will. I'm actually working with some of the county colleagues here to put out a joint press release. We were just named by the Centers for Disease Control as one of the top 3 coalitions in the nation. And what we're doing here, as you may be aware, is trying to help take care of the urban food deserts and make sure that all of our residents have access to fresh, healthful foods, whether you're a young child in a school, you're even in an early care and education program, all the way up to our senior citizens. We were very fortunate this summer to be able to expand our EBT program at the farmers markets. We wanted an opportunity for food stamp recipients to be able to use their Ohio Direction card there. We had asked a couple local foundations to give a small gift, hoping we would get $5,000 or $10,000 to support this. We ended up having 9 foundations give $77,000, and actually one of those came from outside Cuyahoga County, and that foundation said, you guys are doing such good work, we want to show our county that this is something that they could replicate. So we're very excited about that. We're enhancing agriculture and the environment. 4 years ago, 4 farmers markets in Cuyahoga County. This year, 31 farmers markets. It's pretty incredible. It's a new release. The Harvest Neo is the new iPad app that we've just created. Even tonight, you're going home and want to buy fresh food, you could log on to that, find out where the nearest farmer's market is, where the nearest CSA, Community Supported Agriculture stop is. We also support 240 community gardens in the county that produce about $3 to $3.5 million worth of fresh produce annually. And when we talk about jobs, you have on here the Bean Project. We're the first of 2 urban counties in the U.S. to ever receive the USDA's Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program. So we're working with the County Board of Developmental Disabilities and some of our agencies that serve immigrants and refugees who have strong agrarian backgrounds to be able to grow food and sell their food to create a job and a way to earn a living. We've just finished year 1 and it's been very, very successful. Even had some USDA National Fellows that came to see the project in action. And I pointed out too here about our partnership with the Board of Developmental Disabilities. I think Dr. Ryan next week will share more with you on some exciting news that we have, but the fact that we've trained about 49 of their adult consumers who are now tending to urban farms and have a livelihood. Their employment rate is usually 60, or their unemployment rate, excuse me, is usually 60 to 80%. They're now in full-time jobs, growing healthy food and selling to local restaurants. A little more on advancing employment and income opportunities, again about jobs. We've trained to date now about 140 residents to start their own for-profit agriculture endeavors. 49 of them have established and have new businesses up and running. Again, jobs for our residents. And we're also right on the cusp of developing what we call a business-to-business marketplace. Now that the USDA has relaxed their purchasing standards and allow for more local purchasing, we're trying to connect all of our local farmers and growers with schools, institutions, the Cleveland Clinic, local government. As you can imagine, it's quite a process, and we're just on the cusp of exploring this. This slide here just depicts how integral we are to Cuyahoga County. These are the very, very active partnerships that we have with many of the departments. And as you can see, again, aligning to needs, health and nutrition education, our youth, the Food Policy Coalition, and jobs and new economic development. Our budget, with the $247,000 that you so graciously have given us and we received last year, we actually leveraged 10 times the value of that. Our current operating budget is $2.5 million, and that continues to grow. Your appropriation funds 4.75 FTEs. However, with the additional resources, our office has approximately 30 full-time staff. And again, the rest of that comes from the funding that we leverage through you. What's unique to OSU Extension here in the county is actually my position. In most cases, there's a cost share with local funds and with state funds. Due to the growth that our office has experienced and the diversity of the program, my position is now fully funded by state and federal funds. So again, another position that is at no cost to the county. I shared earlier that we've been receiving some awards. This is just a snapshot from this year. I think one that's exciting on here is that we were one of the final 3 nominees for the Team NEO New Development, Economic Development Practice Award. In fact, you'll be happy to hear, you may know this, that it was actually Cuyahoga County Workforce Development that won that award. Although we felt we were in very good company, it was good to share the limelight with them. But again, exciting to see that even on a regional basis, urban agriculture is being viewed as something very plausible and possible with new economic development. I do stand before you a lot humbly. In the past, we have lost quite a bit of our appropriation. 10 years ago, we were at the $400,000 mark, and although I very graciously appreciate the funding that we currently have, it's very difficult to keep up with the demand for our services. As community garden increases, as more urban farmers want to be trained, as we help develop the new 26.5-acre urban agriculture innovation zone in the county, as we branch out, we're actually putting a farm in South Euclid. Having the capacity to keep up with this has been difficult. I shared with you too the opportunity to create a local food system in the business-to-business marketplace. We currently don't have a community and economic development educator position. We did have that in the past, although that was lost to budget reductions. So I do ask for your consideration, if possible, to support an increase of $103,000, which would be able to help us restore that position, as well as a half-time support staff to help with the grants, the contracts, the gifts that we're receiving. That's about 60% of our current budget. And then a small amount to keep up with our technology needs. And then lastly, on behalf, here's some of our Youth Advisory Committee members. I hope some of you have been to the corner of East 62nd Street and Huff to see Mansfield Frazier's grapevine, or I should say vineyard. A lot of folks said it would never happen. His plants are now 9 feet tall and hoping to have a winery right here in Cleveland. The new public square market that's been in operation for 2 years now, and some of our residents that are participating in our nutrition education programs. And thank you very much. I do feel we're making a big difference here, and again, I appreciate the support.
Well, I thank you for your presentation. I understand that Cuyahoga County now ranks second in the nation in urban gardening, so
Yeah.
it's an important area that's growing here. Any questions? Ms. Simon?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question regarding your agriculture projects. Does that include animal agriculture?
Through the chairman to the council member, it does a little bit. At this time within the city of Cleveland, there is legislation to support bees, chickens, and small livestock.
Okay, so does part of your educational program discuss the environmental degradation of animal agriculture? I mean, I would like to see that, because you know that is hugely impacts the environment, propagation of animal agriculture. So is that part of what you discuss with these youth?
It is part of it, and we have a market gardener training program that's 12 weeks long that's discussed more intensely.
Because the United Nations came out with a study, I don't know if you're familiar, that the biggest offender of the carbon emissions and all emissions is animal agriculture. It's worse than fuel. Mm-hmm. So is that something that would be taught to these kids?
We do right now. That's not something we're working with the youth on, since most of them aren't involved in agricultural farming. But that program specifically targets adults.
Okay.
I'll definitely look into it some more. I don't know what to what degree they actually get into it, but it is covered.
Okay. All right. Well, I'd like to see what the education consists of. If it talks about the health impacts and what these kids are learning about when it comes to animal agriculture.
Sure.
Because I saw you won a 4-H award, and want to make sure the kids actually see from A to Z what actually they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thanks.
Other questions? Councilman Greenspan.
Just real quick, we might have added to your issue. Last Thursday, Olmsted Township, I don't know if you're aware of this, but appropriated 5 acres to the Department of Developmental Disabilities program. So we're working out the details right now with Dr. Ryan. So I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but it's coming.
And through the chairman to the council member, yeah, definitely. Dr. Ryan has a goal of 10 farms in 5 years, and I'll tell you what, he's on top of that goal. And it's been very rewarding, too, to see individuals that primarily have been unemployed get involved in this. We're also looking at expanding into processing with the Board of DD, too, so more of their consumers who maybe don't have the physical capabilities can have a job, albeit in a little bit different of a food industry.
Well, in Olmsted Township, they have 33 acres, of which 5 is being used for this program, with the expectation if the land is not used for other economic development purposes, the program can expand right there on the 33 acres. And there'll be 20 jobs is what was presented that will be created as a result of these 5 acres coming into the program.
Council President Conley.
And I just wanted to add real quickly that a lot of these urban farms are also involved in reentry programs, so we get a double bang for it. So we get the farming, we also get employment for people that are formerly incarcerated. I know Mr. Frazier uses primarily formerly incarcerated persons in his vineyard.
Thank you.
Anything else? Ms. Simon?
Just one last question. If you can get back to me what actual educational, syllabi would be, and as well as just exactly the livestock and chicken. I want to see how that's incorporated into this.
Certainly.
Like how many and where they are.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
And could you please get that information to our budget person, Trevor McAleer, so that he can then send it to all members of the council. And anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And we will tomorrow. Any public comment?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Miscellaneous business. Tomorrow we do veterans programs. Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.